94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Sergeant First Class Retired Don Sorensen, and on today's Soldier Salute, we're talking to Major Brad Hamrick of the 3rd Army United States Central Command and his wife, Anne Marie. Brad and Anne Marie, tell me about yourselves.
Hello, my name is Major Brad Hamrick. I'm stationed at U.S. ARCENT there at the Shaw Air Force Base in Sumter, South Carolina. Been in the Army almost 17 years, going still strong and active. Went to a small town high school just north of here, about an hour, called Shelby, North Carolina. Graduated there and went up to the mountains of North Carolina to college at Western Carolina University. And then decided, what did I want to do with myself after graduation? Tried to follow the law enforcement background. I was a full-time firefighter and full-time police officer. And then 9/11 kicked off and I decided I wanted to do something greater, serve my country. I sort of wanted to follow the role, too, of all the male figures in my family. And since, I guess, the beginning early in the Civil War, all my male family members served in the military. So that was pretty nice to follow in their footsteps. And so I decided that was just the right decision for me. And then I can remember my grandfather saying that, hey, any good soldier always starts at the bottom. So I enlisted with a 4-year degree, tried to become an NCO and figured those routes out. Eventually, after a couple of deployments, came back, crossed over, went to OCS, became an officer, and I've been going ever since.
My name's Anne Marie Hamrick from Memphis, Tennessee originally. I have my master's in health and sports science. I worked in corporate wellness until I met my husband. 2 days later, we moved to Italy and my whole life changed. So now I'm a CrossFit coach and a health fitness professional who works with injuries at Studio Fit.
Anne Marie, 2 days after you get married, you're moving to Italy. How much help was Brad with all that?
0. I've done 4 moves completely by myself in the last 5 years. 1 going overseas and 1 coming back, which was probably the hardest. He's been gone throughout the most time.
It was pretty funny when we moved to Italy. Tried to explain to Anne Marie after we got married, hey, this is the Army and I'm not going to have that much time to spend with you. And that was all fine when we were talking about it. We showed up. I walked into my office the first day and my boss said, hey, we're going to the Baltics and then to Germany. I had to call Anne Marie and tell her to pack me a bag, bring it, and on the way. And so ever since we've been in the Army, it's pretty much been that same way of me not being there and she's having to hold down the home front, much like most of the military spouses have to do for soldiers in this time of war, which we began since 2001. We deploy, get things ready set for our soldiers, move forward to the environment in which we have to work, and of course the home front has to be held down by the spouses of those military members and maintain everything, in which she's done a great job since we've been married.
Brad, you've deployed 9 of the last 15 years. How do you maintain a healthy marriage?
That's a good question. Looking at those deployments in years, it has affected the Army throughout the time of war since 2001. We've seen a triple increase of divorces rates throughout the military, throughout our rank. But Anne Marie and I, we do our own thing in a way of the communication for us is huge. We talk about everything. We make sure that all decisions are made equally and that we come to agreement on everything that we do. We remain flexible because, as you know, the military throws a lot of curveballs at you and obstacles. And if you can't remain flexible throughout a marriage and you're set in your ways, then you're going to have a lot of trouble. So we've learned to be very flexible with our time, our money, and patience in where we need to go. And so that's really important for us to be able to make sure that that happens for our marriage. The military will not be there when you retire. And we take that to heart. Whatever we do, we put each other as number 1 priority. That's really important throughout a marriage. That allows us to put our marriage first. And so that's helped out through these years of deployment.
For me, it's patience. I have to always be on my toes of where he's going to be. Not always allowed to know what he's doing and where he's going. So communication for me, to just know that he's okay, even if it's just an email. It's huge, and keeping myself busy, and I'm surrounding myself with people who can keep me positive during those times.
We have a big common goal, and we find something that we would love to do together. For us, it's fitness. We met through fitness. We met each other in a gym.
Yeah.
When Anne Marie was managing the gym at FedEx. Since we've been married, we've fallen in love with CrossFit. We've traveled around the world. CrossFit for us is that neutral place that we enjoy.
Brad and Anne Marie, you guys met in a gym. Physical fitness must be really important to you.
It is. We met at the FedEx World Headquarters. Brad was recovering from a shoulder injury, and I helped him recover that injury, and then somehow we fell in love. I was in corporate wellness and then decided to go into personal training, and I ended up working with injuries and then falling in love with CrossFit, and now I'm training locally. I'm also a coach at CrossFit Creed, and I work purely with exercise injuries at Studio Fit, and we do it together every day. And I train 6 days a week. You train 6 days a week, and we both follow a really healthy diet.
We were in a gym together and we met. We always say those who work out together stay together. One of the most important things, for military is that, that's part part of our job. And Anne-Marie helps me maintain physical fitness with her knowledge and background, especially her having a master's degree. And then that point is, it's something we can talk about. It's a good conversation piece for us. We enjoy going and doing CrossFit. We've traveled around the world to go into different CrossFit boxes and seeing what it's like and how the culture's there. All love the same thing and how that we all have that common interest no matter where you are, either in the United States or across seas. And then that's something we come home and we talk about, and it just our mind off of work or deployment or separation, and allows us just to be able to focus on something that we really enjoy doing together. And then we compete against each other, and we have that competitive spirit. And that's just some of the things that are the foundation of a strong marriage and relationship, is having that one goal that you can both enjoy doing together.
Brad, you work in the IG or Inspector General's office. Most civilians or soldiers probably have a misconception of what you do.
As an IG, we are given authority by the CG, Commanding General, and we do three functions. We, one, assist soldiers. Second function is inspections. So we allow the commanders to see themselves and allow them to improve their organizations. And then, of course, the third is the investigations. When soldiers and leaders and commanders do not follow regulations, we go through and inspect the regulations that they have, allow the command to solve the problems at their level. And that's a good thing, that we are not out to get soldiers. We get to go around the table and go, hey, I got to help this soldier work this finance problem, or I helped this soldier with their PCS move, or that nature. We help the families. And so that's the highlight of our job. It's not, crushing people's careers. What we do is when we go out and assist soldiers in making their lives easier, because when their lives are easier, their commands are better, and therefore makes the Army better. I got appointed as an IG. I told my wife, he had no clue what the IG was.
I always just thought he was Inspector Gadget, and I started singing the tune to the cartoon. I just tell my friends that he investigates things going on in the military, whether it's a high-ranking official or just something going on with financial issues. My friends often say, I don't know how you do it, his hours and how often he's gone. I'm just thankful that here, when he leaves, it's 2 weeks, maybe 50 days at the most, not years at a time.
We've heard from Brad and Anne-Marie today, but they're not the only guest here. Tell us about Riley.
Riley is a 10-year-old pit bull. I found her in a ditch in Memphis, Tennessee, and she was my dog until I met Brad, and they had like an inseparable bond right away. So we decided when we moved to Rhode Island that we would have her certified as a service dog.
So I was coming off a bunch of deployments before I met Anne-Marie, and dealing with the same stuff that all soldiers deal with when they're downrange. I'm 90% disabled. I've been blown up twice. We were talking to a doctor and talking to a couple of people that had already been through this before, and they said, well, why don't you just get Riley certified as a service dog? And we looked into it. We called the Army's Wounded Warrior Foundation, and they gave us the procedures on how to get her certified. I met the criteria for my disability. Having her with me every day at work, in the car, and anywhere I go is a delight. I mean, it has changed my life. She has a positive outlook on everything, as the dog is. They're always happy to see you. And, just having that loyalty and that friendship at a given notice every 24 hours a day, it was only like God's way of putting his self into my life, making sure that I was taken care of, was giving me Riley and Anne-Marie. And you. Them as a team was perfect for me. But, when soldiers have a service dog, and it makes them be able to cope with some of the things throughout the day that bother them, that's just one of the recommendations I have. If you're just separating from the military, or even still in the military and have some problems, look into it. I mean, it's something that's changed my life for the better, and I believe it would for any soldier that has problems too.
Brad and Anne-Marie, what advice do you have for that young military couple that's just starting out?
Stay positive. A lot of times we get down on ourselves, whether it's financial, health, situations that we're in, and I always tell Brad, let's look at the better of the situation. It definitely could be worse. We always try to communicate well on what's going on so that we're not blindsided by anything. We always know what's going on between each other. We are a team on the budget, which I think is a huge thing for new couples, is to be aware of what you're spending money on and how each other's spending it.
To me, it's the military offers you a great opportunity for education. They can go do graduate degree programs. I mean, there's multiple avenues in which soldiers from all ranks, from E1 to as high as you want to go, to be able to get your education. And that only helps you, one, in the military, and two, it'll help you when you decide to separate your ways from the military, is having that education to rely back on. GI Bill is there. Use that GI Bill. Second thing is, growing up in the military said, you only got to do a couple things to be successful. Show up on time, wear the right outfit, shake your head yes and no, and stay motivated. 17 years I've done that, had a pretty good career out of that, and so that's advice I always give young soldiers. You're in the military. You join the military for a reason. You're not working a civilian job, and you're not in the Boy Scouts. So if they can realize the separation of the two and know that you signed up for a purpose and the military is greater than you, and keep that realization and knowledge of that going through your career, you'll be successful and happy through life.
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pigs Barbecue. Serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet. By Lexington Guns and Shooting Range. Veteran owned and operated. Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Love Plumbing, Air, and Electrical. Love to help you love your home.